really lovely to have you here. I'm going to sit.
Please sit, yeah.
So tell us a bit about the history. As I said, I know it's been in the making for a while. Whose idea was it? How long did it take? What were the challenges along the way, if any?
So I came here in 1999 as a volunteer, and I loved it so much that I stayed on and became the Abbey Cook in 2000. And so Bread and Justice was in the shop, but Helen Lammy, who was the hospitality manager, catering manager at the time, she was saying it would be really good if we would have an Abbey cookbook. You know, I think, Anja, you should do that. I mean, I was the Abbey Cook, you know, for a year by then, and I thought like, oh, that's exciting. Yeah, I should do that. And so we had kind of a little outline, but really, especially looking back to that now, it would have been silly to write a cookbook just after 1 year of being a cook. I'm not a trained chef. You know, I studied business management, so I've really learned over the last 23 years I've been here, and I think I seriously started writing on this book, the one you're holding in your hand, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember when exactly. It's been a labour of love, but also of a lot of frustration. I'm a cook and I'm not a cookbook writer. It's very hard to write cookbooks. Well, yeah. So, you know, as they say, there's a book in each of us. That's the book which was in me, I suppose. So I'm not necessarily aiming by writing another one. But yeah, so it's been a long time in the making. People have been asking me over the years. So I was the Abbey Cook in 2000, 2001, and then I worked in the hotels, had Freya, and then came back here in 2008. And yeah, since then, people have been asking, oh, will there be a cookbook? Is there not a cookbook? It would be great if you could write a cookbook. So in a way, it's been guests staying at the Abbey who were the creators of this book, because, and I suppose also Wild Goose Publishing, they were quite interested in the idea as well. So it wasn't necessarily my idea, but you know, I do think it was a good idea to have one. So yeah, challenges. I think just finding the time and really being disciplined enough to sit down and actually write things, because I rather cook than write. So I found that sometimes really challenging. But once you get into it, it's actually fine. And because I took all the photographs as well, you had that kind of additional kind of pressure. It wasn't just about writing the recipe, it was about trying it out and then getting a decent photograph of it. One thing I did, a really stupid mistake, I took all the photographs. I did it one winter. I cooked all the recipes at home, took photographs, and I took them all in landscape format, not thinking really for books you need portrait. So I had to redo them all again, or most of them, and then we took quite a lot in the Abbey kitchen during the season. But it's come together, and I'm quite pleased with the result, which is nice. Yeah. Did I answer everything?
I think so, yes.
So many questions.
How did you decide what to put in? Because, you know, there's so many recipes that...
There are certain things, I think people, over the years, people come to the kitchen and say, oh, could I have this recipe? And I've been always happy to share recipes with people, with staff and guests. So certainly those would go in. The kind of the favourites, the kind of sticky toffee puddings, the chocolate puddle pudding, the bread recipe, yeah, things people would ask for. And then a lot of the recipes are things probably which I like, actually, yeah. And which, you know, people tend to like. You know when you get the dishes back and they're almost empty, you know, obviously they must have liked it. So yeah.
The Anja, look at the plate barometer.
That's right. Yeah.
Thinking about it, publishing a book of recipes is actually quite tricky, because there are recipes that you've used probably from other places, and when you're actually publishing something, rather than just serving it up, you can do anything. But when it goes into print, there's got to be a bit of sort of Anja uniqueness, or something that makes it just that a bit different. So how did you sort of, how difficult was that to navigate your way through that?
I mean, I don't think you can actually copyright a recipe as such, but you're not blatantly just take a recipe from another book and put that in your cookbook. I mean, it has in the cookbook, I'm using recipes which were inspired by other people, and then you adapt and you change a few things. I mean, no recipe, or barely any recipe, is really original. You're just adapting something which comes from a different culture and using different vegetables or spices or different amounts. So, yeah, I've noted in the recipes, which came directly from a different book, I have noted that down. Also in a way of saying, actually, these are brilliant cooks, bakers, whatever. It's worthwhile looking at their recipes because they're really good at their job, yeah.
And the $60 million question, cooking for 60 or 100, very different to cooking for 4 to 6. Was there a lot of working out and bringing it down and testing?
I mean, the interesting thing, because when you think about it, so if you start with a recipe for, say, 4 to 6 people and then multiply, like you want to then use that same, that recipe for 60, you can't just multiply it, say, by 10, because that usually means you're cooking too much. It's a funny thing. The curve is, which is that? That's a curve. Yeah, it's not a straight curve. So, yeah, I had to kind of calculate it down again and had to try it out. Yeah, so every recipe had to be tried out again to make sure it really works for 4 to 6 people. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, it might have been a disaster. And I had lovely people helping me. So after I tried them out, I had Claire Sibley. She cooked a lot of the recipes, and other cooks helped me with that, which was great. Because also, I think you're right, I'm writing a recipe with my words, and I'm thinking I'm clear, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily clear for you. So it was really important. And even now, it might mean some of you might not understand what I've written there. So let me know, because if there's ever another edition or something, we could change it.
And in terms of the layout of the book, was that sort of a fairly natural thing to do? Like you start at breakfast and you go through the day, and there's some sweet treats and the extras at the end.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I went for that. When I started compiling all the recipes, I probably just sat down and thought, okay, how can I build it up? And so I just went for the starting in the morning, finishing in the evening, and then doing the sweet treats. And just, randomly putting things together. The recipes, I just wrote them down, what came in my mind, basically.
So
and
not
added
alphabetic?
No, there is no order, there is no favourite, least favourite or whatever, yeah.
Rainbow coloured?
No, nothing. No, you could read a meaning into it, but no, there is no meaning.
Let's go. That's a challenge, everyone.
What is the
I think
meaning?
she's holding back on this. I think
There's a secret message, a hidden message.
And speaking of favourites, is there a favourite or in the book, and also is there one that you're especially proud of, I guess? So they could be the same or they could be different.
I think one thing I never get tired of is making bread, so probably that's probably my favourite recipe because it's so basic but also so beautiful. I love that probably best. I love food in general, so I like all the recipes really. I don't have a. Do you have a favourite?
I do have a favourite in there, and I'm asking Anja to guess it. She knows what my absolute favourite thing is, which I don't think is in there. But
is it a sweet or is it a savoury thing?
It's a savoury thing.
Is it? It's a tagine. No.
No, but kind of getting close.
Is it?
Same kind of area, maybe a bit further.
A bit further?
East. It's R&P. It's got 2 elements to it.
Oh, is it the curry? No. Oh, come and tell us.
It's a ratatouille with pimento.
That is delicious. Yeah. Oh, I was saying you were saying east, not west. Yeah, yes. I'm sorry, got my.
And my very favourite is flatbreads. Remember the days during
onion
COVID
flatbread.
We had onion flatbreads we used to make. no time when the season's in, when it's full season. And once for my birthday, Anja always says, "What cake would you like?" And I said, "Can I have onion flatbread, please?"
So we had a big
instead,
one.
she made me this incredible big. What is it? It's a German cook.
It's like
onion cake,
it's
yeah.
like a pizza, yeah, like a
Yeah.
German
But it's
onion
got a little
pizza.
bit of eggy sort of
Eggy cream, yeah, it's very good.
It's absolutely delicious. So I was just blown away by my cake. That's wonderful. Well, that's all the questions I've got. Is there anything else you want to say, Anja?
It's a privilege to be here. I mean, it's very funny to be center of attention. I find that quite awkward, actually. But it is a privilege to be here. There's been so much encouragement and there's been so much support. It's really lovely to sit here. The past year has been quite difficult. So it feels wonderful to sit here and feel well and see all your smiling faces. So thank you for coming. Yeah.
And I'll just say one thing. Claire had told me how she did a bit of, reading the recipes and stuff. And she said, and I wanted to change them, but not so that Anja's voice was lost. So there's, when some things, the way you express it,
exactly.
It's your way of expressing, which is with English is a second language, although it's been a second language for a long, long time. So certainly fluent. But sometimes it's just a certain way you phrase or express things. So hopefully that flavour of Anja is deeply embedded in the book.
Thank you.
So thank you, Anja. Any questions from any of you? Yes, right.
Anja, you're a craft worker as well as a cook. Mm-hmm. How do these two parts of you interact?
I mean, for me, I think cooking is very much an expression of creativity. I find that, I think that's why I love it so much, because I don't think I'm good with routine in general. So that whole thing of creating something new every day is very important to me. So I feel very nourished by it. So yes, working with my hands is important, whether I do weaving or whether I prepare a meal, knead some bread. So yeah, it's very much, it's almost the same for me. Yeah, for me it's a craft. Cooking is a craft, isn't it? Yeah.
Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah. Anja, did your cooking change over the last 10 years? Moving more towards including vegan dishes that taste very good. I noticed that. And that's why I bought the book. Because that's where we have to go. I love the
very much. I mean, the culture is leaning towards more vegan recipes, and also I think I remember coming here as a volunteer, and certainly the year when I was a volunteer, it seemed to be like, because we're cooking vegetarian, we need to make sure there's enough protein, so we put cheese on everything. So I mean, cheesy dishes are lovely. We all love cheese, but you can have too much of a good thing. So I think realizing you don't necessarily need the cheese or the meat or to make a good dish. And when you actually look at different foods from different countries or cultures, backgrounds, a lot of the food is naturally vegan. It's not even, that people thought we'll make that vegan. Naturally you have a ratatouille doesn't have any cheese or any dairy or things in it. So, but yeah, it's the same. I'm glad I've written it now, that book, and not 10 years ago, because I think I understand food ethics. I understand health. Food and health far more, and I think that went into the book. Well, I feel, and that was actually very important. So it has more than the book's message is not just food and eat well, but there's more to that as well. Yeah.
And Anja, did you I know the Iona Community has moved that way as well. So were you inspired by them, or was it just sort of happened to be at the same time?
I think it happened probably at the same time. Yeah. Because I mean, the world is understanding more and more how food production influences climate change, how food influences our health. So it's just what everybody, well, not everybody, what people are thinking about. So yeah.
And living on an island, I know there are challenges if you want to eat organically and ethically and think about food miles and all that. It's quite difficult.
It's a complex thing, because you can't actually. Yeah, you if you really want to be ethically correct, and not contribute to climate change, really you ought to, I don't know, eat turnips. And there's nothing,
cabbage.
and cabbage, and there's nothing wrong with turnip and cabbages, but our footprint, I mean, is huge when, you know, most of the foods, well, they come via Oban, but, you know, they come from Glasgow and further away. And even in season, you know, a lot of the vegetables will be from England still, not even from Scotland. So it's, and that is a real issue. And we all know, even if we would have a garden here, we couldn't feed like an abbey with you know, you could have some lettuces or some herbs or whatever, but you couldn't have enough potatoes and turnips even to feed the whole abbey. But it is an issue, yeah.
Certainly something to continue
Thinking about, yeah,
and
exactly,
doing
yeah.
whatever you can.
Yeah.
Any other questions out there? Well, I think, thank you for coming, Anja, and talking at length with us. There was some other question, but it's gone out of my mind, so it will stay out of there forever. But let's thank Anja for...
Thank you.
And for the folk at Wild Goose Publications for urging you, and I'm presuming they came up with the cover. Was that one of your photographs?
It's one of my photographs,
Oh,
yeah.
So all the photographs in there are...
Yeah, they're
yours.
all by
It's
me.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
kind of sums up,
Good.
I don't know, something very nice. And I've been here 3.5 years now, eating much of the food that's in that cookbook, and I still enjoy it, except for chickpeas rattling around in my mouth. I don't mind them squashed.
Really?
I'm just over chickpeas rattling around. Any other kind of things. But that's after 3.5 years of
That's
it.
not too bad. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I just picked them out. Okay, folks, well, if you've got a book and you want Anja to sign it, just make an orderly queue to the back of the shop and out the door.
No.